The markets are screaming and the message is clear. The US government is on the brink of a total shutdown. And as of today, January 26, 2026, the prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshi have seen the odds of a shutdown skyrocket just from 9% to 80% in a matter of 48 hours. And actually, I checked it a few minutes ago. The odds of government shutdown, according to those bets, still stands to 80%. Why are people wagering over 17 million for a Saturday shutdown? Okay, here's what is going on. There's a possibility that the Senate may not pass the new bill, the funding bill, allowing the government to still remain open. There are still issues that are coming up in the Senate that are not yet voted on and may affect voting, leading to a total shutdown in just a matter of about the next 72 hours. But let's give it until Saturday, we'll know how that happens. In deep details, why are people so certain that the government is likely to shut down by Saturday? Reason number one, the crisis in Minneapolis. If you have been keen watching the news lately, you've seen in Minneapolis now there have been 3 different shooting incidents, and the last one of the shooting of Alex Pretty was even far worse, which has led to a lot of turmoil in Congress and a lot of debate whether the new bill should be passed because it funds additional DHS duties and it also funds more ICE duties. Democrats, on the other hand, have always said they don't want to fund ICE anymore, they don't want to fund DHS anymore. We've had people like Mamdani saying we should abolish ICE completely. Now, this faction are not likely to vote for this bill, and Republicans really need them to go along with them on this bill so that the government may be funded by Saturday or latest. This bill is a budget of about 1.2 trillion spending package. One of the biggest packages, one of the biggest allocation in this bill is funding that will go for DHS and ICE reforms. Without Democrats going along on this bill and with the current level of opposition from Democrats and the general public, this bill may not pass in its totality. And now it's also partially very late to amend the bill. It's partially very late to remove certain subsections in order to enable Democrats to go along with it. Now, even if you remove certain section or you wish to remove certain section, Donald Trump is the guy who campaigned on immigration and taking out immigrants from this country. Do you ever think that he's ever going to agree for such clauses or such spending plans to be removed in order for the bill to pass, in order for Democrats to join Republicans in voting for the bill? Then there is the legislative math. For a bill of such sort, especially the spending bill, you need about 60 senators to vote on it. You need 60 Senate to pass a funding bill and avoid a filibuster. This means that you need at least 7 Democrats to jump ship because currently there are 53 Republicans. You need about 7 Democrats to join in the votes. But with the outcry over Minneapolis shooting, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and his caucus are more united on eliminating the funding for ICE and eliminating the fine for DHS reforms to an extent that nobody's even willing to entertain the thought that they may join in voting, they may join in arms with the Republicans to avoid government shutdown. Even the senators who voted last time to avoid the previous shutdown are currently not on board with it. You see, currently the House is not in session, they are on a break. And there's snowstorms, and even if you call them back and you need them back within the week, not everybody will make it and some will just simply give an excuse. But anyway, why we bring the House here? You see, for that bill to be reformed, the reform has to happen at the House level, then they have to pass it, and then it has to come back to the Senate again for them to pass it. Now, you have until Saturday to do all this. The House is out of session. There is the issue of snowstorm across America. They had cancelled and delayed flights, so you are not likely to get them. All these 3 incidents just points out to the reality that the shutdown as of Saturday is likely to happen, and nobody is willing to go along in order to compromise on their position to allow this bill to pass or to allow the Senate to get the 60 votes that it needs. So let's talk about, should you bet on it or should you not bet on it? If you like betting, yes, this is more like of a sure bet. But here's the thing. If you bet for a proposition that is having an 80% support, the returns for you is likely to be meager. For instance, you may spend $80 just to win 20. But if you're not obsessed with profitability and you like something that is, very with limited risk, then this is one of those things that you can bet on. I'd also want to say, no, you should not bet on it, because Congress has a tendency of always cracking a deal, of always coming to a deal when, when everything is quite uncertain. And Okay, there's always a term in Washington called the 2 a.m. Saturday deals. These are the times that these senators can make a deal to support a bill that was very less favorable. Remember the way the first shutdown last year happened? 2 a.m. deals, and all of a sudden you have the houses open again, and then the government is no longer being shut down and things are happening. If that really ever happened on that Saturday, the 2 a.m., the deal comes through and suddenly the government is being shut and you're bet on it, you are likely to lose. So trusting Washington is a problem. Secondly, there is the issue of information lag. You see, Polymarkets and the Kalshi, the information and how people bet here majorly depends on tweets and leaked memos. Now, for you to make a very sure bet, once you put your money on it, for instance, you put about $500 on it, you'll have to be very keen on whatever is happening on the Senate. You have to watch consistently. You have to watch how the negotiation about DHS and ICE funding propositions are going on the floor, so that if you see possibility of a change, you easily cancel your bet. Anyway, betting is a risk, so this should be one of those risks that you should take.